Hello, guys. Hope you're all doing very well. Welcome to today's live stream. So, you can see that the market is right now kind of ranging. There is no clear, you can say, intraday trend in the market. We are still stuck inside this massive zone over here. But yes, one thing is clear that even though gold took out this daily low over here and closed back up, the buying momentum that we should have seen by now, it is lacking, and the pressure still remains to the downside. So that is very clear because we can see we had this fair value gap over here, which I have talked about in my daily analysis video today. And if you have seen that, I told you very clearly that this will be our first major supply zone from which gold will see pressure to the downside, and that's exactly what we can see today. Market went up initially, and after that you can see the pressure that it has built up from this zone, and market is still struggling to break above this high. So this is the major zone from which market is still showing rejection, and that's why in the 1 hour I told you very clearly that we'll be actually interested to sell gold today because we had this back-to-back massive candles from this daily rejection area, and the zone was also shared with you, which was this order block candle, and from here you can see market displaced to the downside, right? And this was your initial target at $4,995. So if you're in my channel over here, you should know that this was the setup which was shared with you guys, right? So very clean setup, market tapped into this zone and displaced to the downside. So now according to the structure, obviously the pressure remains to the downside, and you can see that market reacted after taking out this low over here, which is completely fine. And after that, we can also see that market created a new zone over here, a new 1 hour order block, which market has recently tested in the New York session. And now from here, gold should once again drop to the downside, and initially it should target this low at $4,991, and then, as expected, market should continue to the downside all the way to target this last low at $4,967. Okay, so that's what we're looking for in gold. The pressure still remains to the downside, and we are looking for selling opportunities in gold. And from this zone, market has already given a very good reaction. If I take you to the 5 minutes, then in the 5 minutes we can see there was a strong displacement to the downside after market tapped into this order block candle. And also what gold did was gold took out this high before displacing to the downside. So the pressure still remains to the downside in gold, and we are looking for selling opportunities, no doubt about that. Now the question is, what can be our selling zone? So you have understood that this is our 1 hour order block, right? So I will just keep it in this interval. Now let's go to the 5 minutes. So in the 5 minutes, we can see very strong displacement to the downside, and we still have got this pending order block left over here. So now if market is actually able to push higher, which is possible, why? Because here we have got a support level. Those who trade support and resistance, you should know that this is a support level, and market after taking some liquidity can actually reverse from here. So if that happens, in that case we'll be focusing on this zone, and from here we can take a sell trade in gold. Stop loss will be obviously above this order block candle, and according to the structure our initial target will be at this low, and after that the last target will be at this low. Okay, so this will be a nice sell setup in gold if we get an opportunity from this area, but for now the momentum remains to the downside. Let's see if gold is able to close below this low or not. If it is able to close below this low, in that case a more direct drop to the downside is possible. But if market just sweeps this low and closes back up, in that case we can actually see this zone getting tested before gold drops to the downside, and in that case this high will be acting as an inducement. So whenever you see an inducement level or a liquidity just below a POI, that zone becomes a very high probable entry zone. So make sure you do not miss this entry. If market gives a pullback now after taking out this low, we can see some buyers coming into the market. So now if gold pushes higher, taps into this zone, then definitely you can look for an entry from this zone over here. Okay, so hope that makes things clear. We are still looking for selling opportunities in gold. Why? Because the structure still remains bearish and the pressure remains to the downside. Okay, so hope that is clear to you. Now in the 1 minute, I want to also show you in the 1 minute what's going on. So obviously this is a zone in the 5 minutes, and we can see market took out this low and then a strong green candle over here. So now if gold is able to push higher and break above this high, then you can expect that, okay, now the 1 minute is also now it has turned bullish. In that case we can expect that gold is going to continue higher and tap into this zone before dropping down once again. Okay, so let's see if market is able to close above this high or not. Now in the 1 minute, like I was saying, if we look over here, then we have actually got a market structure shift over here, and in the 1 minute as well we can see we have got multiple POIs. The first one is going to be this mitigation block, which it has already tapped and market has dropped from here. But above this mitigation block, we have got this 1 minute order block candle, which is still pending. In that case, this is going to be a very important level to watch for. Now, why am I showing you the 1 minute zone over here? Because this is the same zone which confluences with the 5 minutes order block. I'm just refining the 5 minutes massive order block into a smaller zone to focus on in the 1 minute time frame, which becomes this 1 minute order block candle. So now as market pushes higher, gives a break above $5,012, the 1 minute will turn bullish, and you can expect that 1 minute will push higher, take out this high, which will, like I said, it is going to become an inducement. It means a trap for the buyers, and once market taps into this zone, you should expect a nice rejection from this zone. Okay, so now all focus on this zone over here. We want to see that gold goes up, taps into this zone, and then what market does is market goes up, comes down, and closes below this low over here in the 5 minutes time frame. Okay, so if we see that in that case, this will be a strong reaction from our POI. After taking out the liquidity, you can see we have got a strong hammer candle like I told you. So there was no closing below the low. This was just a liquidity sweep. And now if market starts to push higher, which it should, because market has also taken out this low as well as this low. So now market should push higher from here, tap into our zone, and from here it should start to drop to the downside. So hope that makes sense what we're looking at right now according to the structure that gold has created in the 5 minutes time frame. Okay, so now let's just wait for market to push higher, tap into our POI, and from here, once it gets rejected and closes below this low, which is at $5,020, we can execute a sell entry from here. We can keep our stop loss just above this candle, because now this candle's high should not be taken, and we can target initially this low, which is at $4,992, and after that our final target will be at $4,967. So we can see a very good risk to reward trade over here. Why? Because we are entering from a lower time frame, which is the 5 minutes time frame. Okay, so hope it makes things clear. We are looking for a sell opportunity in gold once market takes out this high, taps into our 5 minutes order block, which has been refined into the 1 minute order block, and after tapping this zone, once market comes back down and gives a closing below this last high over here, which is the inducement level, in that case we'll be looking for a sell entry, and we will be targeting these lows over here. Okay, so this is going to be our first target at $4,992, and after that the next target will be at $4,967. Okay, so hope that makes things clear. We are looking for a sell opportunity in gold, and this is how the trade setup should look like. So good thing is that market did not close below this low. That means it is not directly going to push to the downside. It will give us an opportunity to enter from this zone over here after market takes out this high over here. Okay, so I think we should be getting an entry in gold very soon. So let's just wait for that and see if the setup actually comes to us, and if it comes, then if it plays out or not. Now this is a very clean setup. Why? Because we are entering based upon the 1 hour structure from a 1 hour POI, and we are targeting these lows over here where we have got massive amount of liquidity which has been built up by the retail traders. As you can see, whenever market comes down over here, market taps into this massive, you can say, wick over here. If you go to the lower time frame, then you can see it much more clearly. If you go to the 15 minutes, you can see we have got this massive demand areas over here, and from here market is pushing higher. So who is making these movements? These movements are made by the retail traders like us and not by the institutional traders. You have to understand this. Okay, once again, when market comes down, taps into this zone, what happens? We see a massive reaction from here. Once again, what is this? This is a move which is created by the retail traders. That means all this move over here, all this push to the upside, these were all created by retail traders. That means we have got massive amount of retail money which is residing over here, and sooner or later all of them will be taken out. Okay, so very clear structure, very clear liquidity. Clearly it tells you that we have got multiple pending liquidities over here which are relatively equal lows, and very soon all of them should be taken out. Okay, so let's see if we get an entry or not. And once again, when market comes down, you can see it took out this low, and from here also market pushed higher and took out this high, and now once again it should drop to the downside. Now, since this is a corrective market, this is how market moves. It plays with liquidity in both the directions. Okay, so you shouldn't be surprised about that. This is a standard, you can say, corrective market structure where the market ranges a lot. It creates liquidity. It will create this kind of relatively equal lows. It will take out the highs, and it will spend a lot of time before pulling more and more retails into the market before it takes all of them out from the market. Okay, so this shouldn't be surprising. This is a very standard way for the market to move. And once market has got enough liquidity, all of the retails was created this mass over here. So this is a retail movement. Why? Because market is ranging. It is not going anywhere, right? That means that there are buyers over here, there are sellers over here. Whenever market comes down, the retails buy, market goes higher. Whenever market goes to the high, the retail sell, market drops from there. So this is a very simple support and resistance playing out, which is only created by retails. Whenever you see market is ranging, you have to understand that this is the play which is created by retails and not by the institutions. Institution plays will always be strong expansion and distribution. It is never going to be accumulation. The accumulation phase, or where the market is ranging, it always comes from the retail money, because the retails do not really understand where the market should go next, because they are not moving the market. They are not creating the intent of the market, where market should go next, where it should, where should it expand, should it distribute, what it should do. So the retails do not know that, right? So the retails cannot decide that movement. The retails can only play between the limit that it has created, it has given us, right? So if you have a support, the retails will be like, okay, so market took support multiple times. Once again, when market drops to this zone, we'll be looking for buying opportunities. And once again, we have got selling zone over here. So whenever market taps this zone, we'll look for a selling opportunity, right? So that's how the retails operate. The retails always operates within limits, and that's why the retails will always create this kind of ranges rather than a strong expansion or a strong breakout. Retails cannot give a strong breakout. You will see that breakouts will happen only from the money which comes from the institutional orders. Okay, so anyhow, all of this is just a range. This is just an accumulation where it's only retail money, and sooner or later market is going to come down, take all of this money out, liquidate all of them, and tap into this last low which was created on Monday. Okay, so it's very clean and clear that the market is gathering liquidity towards the bottom, and very soon market should drop and market should take out all of them. Okay, so very clean and clear structure. And in the 1 hour, like I told you, the market still remains bearish. We have got this 1 hour order block which market tapped into, and then market gave strong displacement to the downside, and that's the reason we're actually looking for a sell opportunity in gold. And also for selling, what's the reason? Like I told you, it's very clean and clear, strong displacement to the downside. If you go to the 1 minute, then in the 1 minute, we can see we have got a very clean and clear market structure shift. We had this last low over here, which created this high, then market drops all the way with back-to-back red candles, creating multiple imbalances, and breaks below this low. So it's a very clean and clear structure over here, which is indicating that the 1 minute has turned bearish. And after that, we're waiting now that market goes up again to tap this last pending order block, which also confluences with the 5 minutes order block. So this is a very important zone. So what we want to see now is that market pushes higher, market takes out this high over here, which is now going to become an inducement for the buyers. And once the buyers have been induced, market should tap into this 5 minute order block, which has been refined into the 1 minute order block. And once market taps into the order block and market rejects this zone and market comes back below this low and closes below this low, this will be a very clean and clear and a high probable indication that now market wants to go to the downside. So once we see that candle closing below this low, which is at $5,020, we will be executing our sell trade. Stop loss will go just above the high of this candle, which will manipulate this high over here. And according to the structure, our initial target will be at this low at $4,992. Sorry, our initial target will be, yeah, this will be our initial target. That's fine. And our final target will be at $4,967 to sweep out all this retail money that have been accumulated over here. Okay, so I hope that makes things clear what we're looking at, what is the structure, and what is going to be our entry zone, what will be our confirmation. I think everything have been discussed in detail. Okay, so now let's just wait for market to tap into our zone, take up this high, and then close back down, and only then we will execute our entry. Okay, we haven't really sold yet. We're still waiting for market to tap into our POI, give us the confirmation candle, and only then we'll be looking for an entry. Okay, so I hope that makes things clear to you. Okay, just excuse me for a minute. I'll be back very soon. Okay guys, I'm back. So gold is pushing higher as expected after taking out this low, and now it's going towards our POI. So let's see how market reacts after taking out this high and after tapping into our POI, which is this order block. So let's see what market does. If market taps here, closes back below this low, then this is going to be our entry in gold, and we can take a nice scalp trade in gold. So let's see how market reacts from the zone, and then we'll execute our entry. Okay, so be ready for an entry, and also do like this stream if you have joined here. We're looking for a sell opportunity from this zone because the 1 hour still remains under pressure. The 1 hour still remains bearish, and we're expecting that gold should actually drop down from here because this was our order block from which gold has reacted, and we have seen very nice displacement to the downside, and we have also seen back-to-back POIs being created. So that's why we are looking for an entry from this zone. So let's see if that holds up or not. Also, if I extend this zone to the left side, we can see we've got the QM level over here. So QM level is basically a zone which previously acted as a support or a resistance. In this case, this was a previous resistance which drove market to the downside. Then it has been broken 2 times, one to the upside, second time to the downside, and now this zone becomes an important zone. So once again, if market taps this zone, then market should react from this zone and respect it as a resistance, and from here market should drive to the downside. So this is what a QM is. The opposite thing is true for a support zone. If a support has been broken twice, then that will act as a QM. Okay, so in this case, this is a QM level, and also we have got the order block over here. So this becomes a very important zone. If market taps here and gets rejected, closes below $5,020, then we can definitely take a sell entry directly, and we'll put our stop loss just above this zone or above the rejection candle. Okay, and we'll take a sell entry, and we'll look for a nice and good sell trade in gold over here. So hope that makes things clear. This is the plan in gold. So let's now just wait for market to take out this low, and then once market taps this zone, wait for a rejection candle, and then we will take our entry. Okay, let's look at silver, what's going on. Okay, so silver has taken out the daily low just like in gold. You can see the similarities in gold and silver. Both of them are playing out in quite similar way. So in silver, actually we can see more of a strength than gold. We can see that market actually created this last high. So this becomes our liquidity sweep, and then market creates this POI which I have marked over here, and from here market goes up and gives us a new break of structure over here. But the only problem is that when market gave this break of structure, market could not create any POI along with it. Okay, so this is not something which is a very bullish sign that market can continue higher. And then we have got this massive red candle taking out all the buyers in this one. So that means this breakout trading candle, all the volume have been taken out in this one, and then you can see market comes down all the way. So that means that silver is also showing downside pressure, and just like in gold, it's possible that this push to the upside was nothing but a liquidity sweep. Okay, and once the liquidity have been swept, once the buyers have been trapped over here in this candle, it's possible that the sellers have taken the charge, and now silver is also pushing to the downside. So if gold comes to the downside, then silver is also going to follow, and silver is also going to drop to the downside as well. And we can see over here silver has created this tiny fair value gap which it has respected, and market has drove to the downside from this zone. So silver is also following just like gold. Both are under pressure, and if gold now drops, then silver is also going to follow the same, and silver will drop to the downside all the way to target this low over here. Okay, so you can look for a sell opportunity in silver as well, just like in gold. Okay, so let's focus on gold. What's going on over here? So gold actually did not take out this low yet. Rather, it's just dropping from this order block candle. So we cannot really do anything about it. Our plan was that market should take out this high tap into our 5-minute order block candle, which was refined to this 1-minute order block, and from here we wanted to take a sell entry. But till now nothing like that has happened. Market did not take out this high, so I don't think I'll be interested to take an entry right away. I'll still be waiting for market to take out this high, because this can once again be an inducement. This can be an invitation to early sellers who will actually like to sell, looking at this reaction from this order block candle. But remember, our main POI, our extreme POI, still lies over here, which is still unmitigated. It is still fresh, and just below this we have got this high, which should act as an inducement. So that means that market should actually push higher, take out this high, tap into our main POI, and then market should drop to the downside. Okay, so I don't think that just this candle itself is a very good POI, because this did not create the last low. Rather, this was the POI which created this last low. So this is a much more powerful POI than this order block over here. Okay, so hope that makes sense. So that's why we'll wait for market to take out this high, tap into our order block over here, and then we will look for an entry. Okay, so we are not going to enter based on this single candle from this order block, because this is an inside bar order block. Yes, it's still important, but this is an internal structure, so this is inside the major external structure. So that's why we're not interested to take an entry based on the reaction from this particular order block. Okay, so hope that makes sense. We are still waiting for market to push higher, take out this high, tap into our major order block, and from here we'll be looking for a sell opportunity in gold. Okay guys, so hope that makes sense. We're still looking for bearish momentum in gold, and gold should sooner or later drop down all the way, take out all the liquidities that it has created below. Okay, I told you why there's a liquidities, what's the reason. You can watch, you can just go a little bit back in the stream and you can see the explanation why all of these are retail liquidities, and this moves to the upside. They are not created by the institutions themselves, but are completely moves from the retails. Okay, so now let's talk about let's see the currency pairs, what's going on. So I can see the currency pairs are actually showing a little bit of strength today, but they're still bearish. We have this last break of structure in GBP USD, and now this becomes our POI in the daily time frame. We have got this fair value gap, and after that we have got this order block. So overall, this is an important zone to watch for. If market taps into this zone and shows displacement in the 1 hour time frame, then we can look for an entry from the 1 hour time frame, and we can trade GBP USD all the way to the downside to this last low. Okay, so let's see how market reacts from this zone, and based on that we'll be looking for an entry to this last low. So what I would like to see is something called market structure shift, where market breaks below the last low, breaking the structure, and once we see that, we can look for a sell entry from a point of interest which will be created over here, and we can look to sell and target this low over here. Okay, so hope that makes sense. This will be our trade plan in GBP USD according to the daily structure, where we're looking to sell because the daily still remains bearish, and we had this last daily break of structure to the downside, clearly indicating the selling pressure in GBP USD. Okay, now let's talk about Euro USD. Euro USD is also bearish. You can see we had this last downside bearish break of structure, and now market is pushing higher, and this is the last POI to watch for. So make sure you focus on this zone. Once market taps here, you can look for an entry from this zone using the 1 hour market structure shift confirmation, and you can look to sell Euro USD, and you can target this last low over here. Okay, so this will be our trade plan in Euro USD. In weekly also it's bearish. You can see the last week candle closed below the previous week's low. So this is clearly indicating that market wants to continue to the downside, because right now the dollar is actually gaining some good strength, because like I told you previously, the dollar is something which acts as a safe haven during the times of geopolitical tensions. Okay, so keep that in mind. So yeah, market is bearish in Euro USD and GBP USD, and you can look to sell both of them. Now let's talk about USD CAD. USD CAD is bullish. You can see market took out this low, and multiple times market tried to break below this low, but you can see the buyers came in and pushed market to the upside, so clearly showing momentum to the upside. And we can see that market is pushing higher, and next it should target this high over here. So if market gives a pullback to this zone over here, which will be our last POI in USD CAD, that we can look for a buying setup from here. Else we can go to the lower time frame like the 4-hour, and in the 4-hour I can see that market has already tapped into this POI over here, and from here market has already reacted. So now we can see the 1-hour. In the 1-hour market has also shown some displacement. Now if market pushes higher, creates a new breakout structure above this high along with displacement, then you can look for a new buying opportunity and you can target this highs over here. Okay, so this will be the trade plan in USD CAD. Thank you, Abdul. Thank you for your comment, and welcome to the live stream, brother. And I hope that you're learning something, you're enjoying the live stream. And also if you want more updates, then you can join the Telegram channel where I keep updating all the intraday moves in gold and silver. So if you are interested, you can join. You can find the link in the description. Okay, so now let's talk about USD CHF. So USD CHF we can see is actually kind of very bearish. If we compare it to USD CAD or USD JPY, the USD pairs, then it's actually highly bearish. We had this last break-off structure to the downside, and right now market is testing this fair value gap over here, and market is actually showing reaction from this zone. So USD CHF is actually kind of very bearish right now. So I think the CHF is kind of very strong compared to USD, and that's the reason that market is driving to the downside. But here we have got a daily break-off structure. So in the daily, obviously market is looking a little bit of bullish. It has got some momentum. We can see some good displacement over here, but in the weekly the structure remains bearish and market can actually drop to the downside from this order block that we have in the weekly time frame. So if market continues higher, which is possible because we have got a daily breakoff structure over here, so you can look for an entry from this zone, and we can look for an initial buying setup up to this zone. But once market has the weekly POI, if we get market structure shift in the 4-hour time frame, then we can look for a sell entry in USD CHF. Why? Because the higher time frame narrative is still very much bearish. Okay, so hope that makes sense. Okay, now let's get back to gold and see what's going on. So gold is actually showing strength and it is pushing higher as expected. You can see this was just a reaction from this candle to induce sellers, those who trade by FOMO and all those scouts. So they have been trapped over here, and you can see now market is trying to push higher once again because it did not take out the important high, which is going to be this high, which is the inducement level. So once market takes this high out, market should react from here, and then we will see whether we can take an entry or not. Okay, so let's see if we get an entry in gold or not from this zone. Silver is also driving to the downside very clearly. In the 5 minutes it's bearish, so silver should also go for these lows over here, which is also, I think these are session lows. Yeah, this is the New York session AM low, and below that we have got this low as well. So silver is also bearish just like in gold, but comparing to gold, then definitely silver has shown some good momentum, but the structure still remains bearish, and this candle should be a nice and clean liquidity for the sellers to, for the buyers to be taken, and then the sellers to show momentum and then drop to the downside. Okay, so silver structure remains bearish, the pressure remains to the downside, and we should be seeing more downside pressure in silver as gold starts to drop. Okay, so let's see if gold gives us an opportunity or not. Market is pushing higher, so let's just wait for market to take out this high, and then we can take an entry based on the reaction from this 5 minutes order block candle, which has been refined to this 1 minute order block over here. Okay, so we have still not taken any entry. We're still waiting for market to induce new buyers into the market, because as market will break above this high, the buyers will enter the market thinking that market is trying to push higher, and they'll be looking for an entry over here. So they will be taken out. So they will be entering something like this. Let's see, we see a strong breakout candle. Stop loss will go below this low. And obviously, according to the structure, they'll be expecting that market should go all the way up to this high and also then potentially push higher. But that is going to be wrong. Their stop loss is going to be taken and then market is going to drop to the downside once again. Okay, so let's see how this setup and the analysis works or not. So let's just wait for market to take out this high, and then based upon the reaction from this POI, we'll be deciding whether we should take an entry or not. But yes, it's very clean and clear that market should actually drop to the downside because we have got multiple retail liquidities lining up over here. So the pressure still remains to the downside very clearly. Else, it should have already pushed higher, created new breakout structures, which it has failed to do till now. And most importantly, market is respecting this daily fair value gap, and market has also shown good displacement to the downside. And also we can see we have got this new breakout structure over here in the 1 hour. So yes, the structure still remains bearish for gold in the 1 hour, and we're still looking for lower prices in gold. Okay, so market is sideways for now. Let's just wait for market to take out this high, and only then we can look for an entry. Let's talk about crypto a bit. So crypto is actually showing good amount of strength in the market, like I have discussed. You can see market took out this previous low, tapped into the monthly order block, and from here market is showing good strength. In the daily, we have got some good displacement over here. We got this 3 candle patterns creating some POIs. Market comes into this, taps into this, and then market goes up again. And once again, market taps into this zone over here, this newly created order block, and from here market is pushing higher. And also over here, we have got a new break-off structure in the daily time frame. So overall, crypto is showing good strength at the moment. If you want to take some daily analysis, daily trades in gold, not in gold, in crypto like in Bitcoin, Ethereum, then definitely you can take some buying trades in crypto. So this is the zone to watch for, which I've already marked. This is the daily order block. So if market comes down, taps into the zone, then you can use the 1 hour confirmation entry model from this zone, and you can target this previous high over here. And after that, you can target $79,320. Why? Because this is the next weekly fair value gap over here, which should have good amount of supply zone, because in the weekly we had this last breakoff structure that makes this as the last low before creating this high and the new breakoff structure to the downside. So we have got this mitigation block over here, and just in front of this we have got a massive imbalance fair value gap. So this zone becomes a very important zone, a very highly potent zone from which market can once again show a good amount of reaction to the downside. And if it wants to continue lower, then definitely it will push down from here. But if it wants to show some more reaction to the upside, it can push higher as well. And next it is going to target this order block candle over here. Okay, but for now, this level at 79,300 remains a very important level, because according to the weekly, this is the next major fair value gap to watch for. Okay, so as long as market is pushing higher, creating the daily break-off structures to the upside, you can look for continuation trades, and you can look to trade Bitcoin to the upside, and you can target this daily highs that it creates before giving a pullback to the downside. Okay, hope that makes sense. So now if you see a pullback to this zone, then definitely you can focus here, and from here we'll be looking for buying opportunities. Okay, similarly in Ethereum also, we can see that market came all the way down and tapped into the last monthly order block over here. And after tapping into this zone, if we go to the daily, then just like in Bitcoin, Ethereum has also shown good amount of strength, strong displacement, came down, respected the zones, and market continued higher. Once again, market comes down, taps the zone, and from here market continues higher and then gives a strong displacement to the upside. And next, it should go for $2,393, because just like in Bitcoin, in Ethereum, we have got this massive fair value gap candle, and that's why this zone becomes a very important zone to watch for. Okay, so just like in Bitcoin, in Ethereum also, you can look for buying opportunities. We have got this last POI over here. So now if it gives a pullback to this zone, then definitely you can look for an entry from here, and you can target this high over here. Okay, so hope that makes sense. Bitcoin, Ethereum, they're showing good strength, and you can look for buying opportunities in both of them. Okay, guys, now let's come back to gold. So till now, I don't see gold taking out this high. It is just sideways over here, but I think it should be very clear that gold should take out this high before it gives a strong displacement to the downside, and that's why we're still waiting for market to take out this high. Till that happens, this is just a range between which market is just going to trap more and more buyers and sellers. Those who are scalpers, they're going to get trapped inside this range over here. Looking at the red candles and looking at this order blocks, which are internal structures, the traders will be coming in to sell gold from here, keeping stop loss above the high, completely ignoring the fact that just above this high they have got an inducement level. Okay, so that's why we're still waiting for market to take out this high, and once it takes this high, you can focus on this zone. And what we want to see, once again, I've told you previously, but once again, once market taps this zone, market should come back down and market should close below this inducement level at $5,020. That will be a very nice and a strong setup for you to sell gold. Once you see that, you can take a direct market entry in sell. Stop loss will go just above the high of that rejection candle, and according to the structure, your initial target will be at $4,992 and your final target will be at this very low where we have got multiple liquidities pending over here. Okay, so this is going to be your final target at $4,967. So this will be your trade setup according to the structure and the liquidity that market has given us, and wait for market to take out this high, and only then you can take your sell entry in gold. Okay, so hope that makes things clear. I have to go now, and I think the stream is already quite long. I think that it's very clear what we are waiting for, what we're watching in gold. So just wait for the plan that I've discussed with you. And obviously more updates will be shared in my Telegram channel. So if you're interested, you can join my Telegram channel. The link is given below in the description. And also if you want the exact entry with stop loss and targets, then you can join with one of my brokers. You can find the links below in the description. Okay. So yeah, that's it for today. I will see you tomorrow. Till then, take care and trade safe. And good night, everyone.